Welcome to Sports JaM!
Everybody get up, it's time for sports now.
We got a real show going down.
Welcome to the Sports JaM.
So it's your chance, talk and rant.
It's the Sports JaM.
All right.
Cut.
Hey man, you can't get any better than that.
All right, welcome to the Sports JaM. It is Wednesday, July 3rd. I am your host, Joe O'Rourke.
And I'm Sam Cepeda.
Sam Cepeda, both interns here at WJOB. Sam is the intern's intern, though.
Yep,
I get to tell him what to do.
you do.
All right, so let's talk some White Sox, because pretty much all we got going on is baseball right now. So the Sox beat the Orioles yesterday, 5-2. Johnny Danks pitched 7 innings, gave up 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 4 Ks.
It's pretty solid.
He's done pretty well since coming back from his shoulder injury. I think his ERA is still in the 4s, but I mean, you had to expect he would come back a little slow and then work it up. And his past 2 starts, he's only allowed 3 earned runs.
It's a good start.
Over 14 and a third innings pitched.
If you keep that going, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, so he's getting stronger, so that's good. Adam Dunn hit his 22nd home run yesterday. It was a monster shot over Nick Markakis in right field. As soon as he hit it, of course, Hawk went nuts. Markakis didn't even move. He just stood there and just turned his neck and watched it fly. I don't know what the exact distance was. I would bet probably 440 plus.
I've witnessed a Adam Dunn bomb. I was at a Reds game when he was on the Reds.
Oh, my gosh.
Absolute bomb.
He swings so hard, and when he hits it, he really hits it.
Yeah.
He's
a big boy.
He's a huge dude. He's now hitting $199 on the season.
Gonna break that 200 mark.
Yep, with 54 RBIs. And, hopefully he gets over the Mendoza line at 200. Gordon Beckham is now hitting $325 on the season, but he's doing it almost entirely of singles. 29 of his 37 hits are singles, and he has yet to hit a home run on the year.
It's not too good.
I mean, it's nice that he's hitting $325, obviously. He's only played, I think, 35 games because he had an injury and that missed most of May and some of June. But he's got to show some more power. He's got to get some more doubles. He's got to get some more home runs. But his defense has been great at second. So
there's been no complaints his entire career about his defense. His defense has been always pretty solid.
Yeah, his defense has been real good. Every year it seems like he somehow gets better at it. So, I mean, if he's hitting $325 with 2-3 home runs a year, but great defense, I guess.
Can't expect really more from a middle infielder. Not really middle infielders. I mean, it's growing more into a hitters more hitters.
Guys like Cano.
Yeah, and Kinsler and J.J. Hardy. But if you can get some good defense with some solid hitting at that position, it's pretty good.
Right. The Cubs lost 8-7 to the Oakland Athletics. Oakland scores 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to take the win away from the Cubs. Valbuena, Bogusevic, and Castillo all had 2 hits yesterday. Deanna Navarro went 3 for 4, and Soriano hit his 10th home run. Guess who committed his 15th error?
Castro?
Starlin Castro. He nailed it. 15 errors on the season. I think Alexi, he's at 14. I think they were tied until yesterday. So in the race for the worst team in the city is still with the Sox leading there in the 4th spot. 4th draft pick right now if the season were to end. The Cubs are in the 5th spot. The Sox are 5 games back of Houston, and the Cubs are 6.5 games back. So let's go Houston. Let's go Miami. Let's go Milwaukee. Let's get those 1st and 2nd picks for Chicago. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
What do you think about with your Yankees?
Well, see, here's the thing. They're kind of in that zone that we talked about earlier where you're not going to get a good pick, but you're not going to be really down there. So you're in that middle, 15, 16. They're not.
And I hate those spots.
Yeah, that's where they're going to be because the division they're in, I mean, it's not as strong as it usually is, but it still has teams that are playoff teams.
Yeah,
so
if you're picking anywhere from about 13 to about 20, it means you won't get a great pick. I mean, obviously, if you're picking 13, you'll get a good pick your first couple rounds maybe. But you're not going to get a great pick, and you also probably didn't make the playoffs.
And the Yankees are too proud to tank.
Yeah, when was the last time the Yankees had like a top 10 pick?
Probably not in the last 20 years.
I couldn't even tell you. Probably not even our lifetime.
Because if they're anywhere close to that, they'll just buy someone else.
Exactly.
That's why they're good.
In other White Sox news, future Hall of Famer Jim Thome has joined the Sox as a special assistant to the GM Rick Hahn. Thome spent 4 years with the Sox from 2006 to 2009 when he got traded late in the season to the Dodgers, I believe, because he wanted to get a ring finally, but he didn't. He hit 134 home runs when he was with the Sox, and when he was with the Sox, everyone loves him, of course. He's
a great guy.
And Jerry Reinsdorf said they kind of had like a handshake agreement that once Thome was done playing ball, he would have a spot with the Sox somewhere in the front office because they wanted to keep him around. He's a smart baseball guy, and he's obviously a great person. So
now with the Sox front office, what is Kenny Williams' role in the Sox?
He is the president. He's supposed to kind of let Rick Hahn do what he wants and make his own moves, but there's a lot of people who think that Kenny's kind of looking over Rick Hahn's shoulder, and when Rick Hahn wants to do something, that Kenny's kind of saying, oh, well, he might.
Because Kenny's a pretty smart guy.
He's a smart guy, but I thank him obviously for the World Series in 2005, but I would like him just to leave the team completely, so that way I know when Hahn makes a move, it's completely
Hans.
It's completely Hahn, and he doesn't have any influence from Kenny, because I want to see what Rick Hahn can do. Now with the Cubs and Jed Hoyer, it's obvious that Theo Epstein has a big influence on Jed Hoyer's decisions, because they're kind of more like a team, even though Jed Hoyer's the GM and he should technically get the credit.
But they're using the same method.
It's the same system where the one guy is above the other guy, but in Chicago, and for the Sox, we think that it's mostly Rick Hahn because Kenny said, "No, I'm gonna let him do his thing. He's the new guy." Whereas on the north side, everyone knows, and I think publicly has been said that Theo Epstein is definitely having a part in all these moves.
Epstein has proven it though too. I mean, he's proven that he can successfully put a team together. So if I was the Cubs, I would just let Theo Epstein. Jed Hoyer can throw in his opinions, but I think Epstein, at the end of the day, should be the one making the moves.
See, I think Theo Epstein, I don't really even know if he's a great GM or not, because, yeah, he obviously did well with the Red Sox, but the Red Sox had unlimited money. So it's kind of hard to judge a GM like him or like Brian Cashman when if they make a mistake, we'll throw $40 million at the next guy.
Yeah, it's really, so
it's kind of hard to judge.
It doesn't take that much skill.
Now, someone like Andrew Friedman, the Rays general manager, we know that he is amazing because
or Billy Beane, Athletics.
Although Billy Beane, the Athletics haven't been as good as the Rays have been. The Rays have been a really, really good team for the past 5 or 6 years, and they have the lowest payroll in baseball every year. So you can definitely tell that he is a smart guy and he knows what he's doing. Whereas the guys who have tons of money to play with, it's kind of hard to judge if they really know a lot or if it's just their wallets talking. So anyway, back to Jim Thome. My favorite memory of Jim Thome when he was with the Sox was in 2008 when the Sox played against the Twins for the blackout game, game 163, where the division came down to a tie and they had to play a playoff game. And Jim Thome hit a bomb to center field. He hit it onto the fan deck. I don't know if you've ever been to U.S. Cellular Field or not.
I've obviously watched games. I've been to it once, but it was when I was really little.
Yeah, that fan deck in center that has the ivy on it. He hit a ball onto that, he's the only player to ever do that so far. And they won the game 1-0. And not only did they win 1-0, but Ken Griffey Jr. threw out a runner at home plate to preserve the 1-0 win.
Ken Griffey Jr., even at old age, still making miraculous plays.
It was pretty cool. So that's my favorite memory of Jim Thome, and I'm excited to have him back. I don't know how big of a role he's going to have, but just to have him back in the system is pretty fun, and have him around the city and see him at some games or watching some games or whatever. So he's also a Peoria native, so he's already in the area, so he might as well just.
He's a class act.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
The Cubs yesterday, we were talking about the international picks and all the player signings, which opened up yesterday. The Sox signed the number 2 prospect, Micker Zapata, and the Cubs got the number 3 prospect. Well, right after our show, as I kind of predicted would happen because the Cubs were stockpiling all that slot bonus money in those trades that they made yesterday, they were able to land number 1 international prospect, Eloy Jimenez, who is an outfielder who everyone pretty much regards as the number 1 international prospect coming in. I don't think they've released the figures yet, but they think that he's going to get $3 million plus,
That's insane.
which will double every other player that signed yesterday.
See, I like what they're doing, what Chicago's doing with this international players, because I think that there's a lot of talent there, and I think that if they develop it, like it's proven, these international players coming over, it's like Hanley Ramirez, got Rolls Chapman.
Well, even in our city, we saw success with Diane Viciedo, although he's fallen off a bit from last year when
Alexi
he
has been okay.
Alexi Ramirez, who had a couple of great years. He's obviously getting older now. He's like 32 or 33, but he had some great years when the Sox first had him. And I mean, Starlin Castro has shown
I think he'll pick it up. He will. He has
could
potential.
be an all-star if he puts it all together. So Chicago has seen some success with these players. So I think it's a good move to get as much talent as you can internationally. So we are going to take a break right now. When we come back, we will I'll talk about my my AL and NL MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year awards for the midseason halfway point. We'll talk about whether we think pitchers should win MVP, and then when we come back for the third break, we'll do headlines with Sam. All coming up on the Sports Jam, WJOB AM 1230.
About Jack and Diane, two American kids growing up in the heartland. Jackie gonna be
All right, welcome back to the Sports Jam. All right, let's talk some midseason awards in baseball. We are now at the halfway point in the season. I got my AL MVP as Miguel Cabrera.
Can't challenge that.
I think some people will pick Chris Davis, but I think Miguel Cabrera has the better overall numbers. He's hitting .368, 26 home runs, 85 RBIs. He's got a .458 on base percentage.
That's incredible.
Which is insane. Anything over 380 is really good. Anything over 400 is awesome. He's at almost .460.
See, the thing is, like, it's very rare that you have extreme power numbers with extreme, like, average numbers.
Yeah, like his contact is awesome. His power is awesome. His plate discipline, he's barely striking out more than he's walking, which is pretty crazy. I think Albert Pujols is the last person I can remember to consistently walk as much as he struck out. And Miguel Cabrera is close to doing that.
These are Hall of Fame numbers that he's putting up.
Oh, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer for sure. I think he's the greatest hitter probably of our generation.
I would think so.
AL Cy Young winner, I give to Felix Hernandez, who has won a Cy Young in the past. He's got a 2.70 ERA, a 1.10 WHIP, a 9.49 strikeouts per 9 innings, 1.70 walks per 9 innings, which is a career best for him and by a lot. And his strikeouts per walks is 5.59, which is pretty ridiculous. Anything over 4 is really good. Anything over 5 is like Cy Young contention. So I think he's definitely got that in line to win the award. And I think you disagree with this pick?
I do. I think it should be Max Scherzer.
Okay.
It's very rare that you have less than 5 losses. He hasn't given up 1 loss. He hasn't had 1 loss. He's 12-0, 3.1 ERA. And I think he has a better chance of winning it because of the team factor. Like, his team is very good.
Right. Yeah, I think the wins are completely overrated for pitchers, which is exactly why I did not include pitcher wins on Felix Hernandez or on my NL Cy Young pick coming up. I just don't think wins are significant for pitchers because it totally relies on your team. And I just don't think that it's fair that you could lose a bunch of games. Like Chris Sale has a losing record this season despite having an awesome season because his team cannot hit for him. I don't think that's really his fault his team can't hit.
But if Scherzer's like 20-2, you don't give it to Scherzer? Even if he's like
I don't give it to him because he's 20-2. I'd look at his other numbers before I'd ever look at his wins and loss record. That's what I think. So, all right, we'll see later in the season what happens and if Scherzer can keep it up. He's obviously a really good pitcher who's come into his own since getting traded from the Diamondbacks a couple of years ago. AL Rookie of the Year. The AL Rookie of the Year, or rookies, the crop is so bad this year in the AL.
Really?
The NL has a ton of good rookies. The AL, hardly any. So the tallest midget I could come up with was Yan Gomes. He hit 284, or he's hitting 284, 6 home runs, 20 RBIs, but he's done all that in just 35 games. So, 6 home runs isn't a lot, but in 35 games, if you extrapolate those numbers out, that's 30 home runs.
And if
for the
there's
season.
if there's not a lot of contention in the AL, it's pretty hard to find.
Yeah, I mean, you could pick, I guess, a couple other guys, and it's not really – no one's going to be up in arms because no one really totally deserves it.
Yeah.
When you look at the NL and how many rookies they have that are dominating. So let's go over to the NL right now, to MVP. This one, I wrote down 2 players because I'm not sure which one I want to go with. One has better numbers on one side, one has better numbers on the other side. They play completely different positions.
Okay.
So I got Yadier Molina from the Cardinals. He's a catcher. He's hitting .347 with 6 home runs, 44 RBIs, .388 on base percentage. He's got a 9.5 strikeout percent rate, which is one of the best rates in baseball. He rarely strikes out. My other choice was Paul Goldschmidt of the Diamondbacks, who's hitting .302, 20 home runs, 69 RBIs. He's got a .380 on base. He also has 8 stolen bases, which is kind of
For first
odd
baseman.
for a first baseman who's a huge power hitter to have 8 stolen bases. That's pretty cool. If he ends up with 20 stolen bases, that would be pretty awesome for a first baseman with power.
See, I think I would go with Yadier Molina in this situation because I think if you look at the meaning, like most valuable player,
Right.
I think Yadier Molina is the most valuable player to his team because of his defensive. He's also a great defensive catcher.
Right, and I agree, which is why I'm leaning towards Yadi as well, because he doesn't have the power numbers as Goldschmidt or the RBIs, but he's the captain of that team, and that pitching staff is tremendous in St. Louis, and he's a big reason. He's calling great games for them.
Exactly.
One of the best defensive players. He's playing a premium position at catcher, whereas Goldschmidt at first base.
There's a lot of first basemen that can hit.
Yeah, they don't generally. You don't consider first baseman to be a valuable position. I mean,
No.
players obviously are.
I mean,
usually
there's
good.
some solid
Position-
first basemen, but you could basically your power hitters basically you put them at first base because
Right.
it's not
It's usually
as hard of a position.
Usually, first base is your weakest defensive player who can't play elsewhere, so you put him at first to kind of hide him.
Yeah.
Now, that's not saying Goldschmidt isn't a good defensive first baseman, but the fact that he plays first makes him less valuable than a catcher like Molina, who's dominating.
Completely agree.
Right. All right. So, to my Cy Young picks, I'm going also back to St. Louis with Adam Wainwright. He has a 2.22 ERA. He's got a WHIP just under 1 at .99, an 8.16 strikeouts per 9, and he's got a walks per 9 at 0.86, which is by far his career best, by far best in baseball. And get this, his strikeouts per walk. Remember I said Felix Hernandez 5.59? Anything over 5 is like Cy Young. He's got a 9.5
It's incredible.
strikeouts per walks.
Incredible.
I'm pretty sure, I haven't looked it up, I'm pretty sure that would be an all-time record.
Probably.
If he ends the season
Seems
with that.
pretty incredible to me.
I can't remember a player ever having over like a 6 or 7 to end the season. And he's got almost a 10.
You'd have to give it to him if he kept
Strikeout
that up
per
those
walk.
numbers.
Insane. NL Rookie of the Year. Come on. I think this is kind of obvious here.
I disagree with what you're going to say, but
you do disagree. Well,
I
I'm
do.
going Yasiel Puig. Obviously, he's only played in 27 games.
that's why I disagree.
That's why. Okay, so that's a factor. But he's hitting .443. He's got 8 home runs, 17 RBIs, 4 stolen bases. He's already accumulated a 2.0 WAR, which is wins above replacement, which MVPs generally get around. They usually have 8+, somewhere around 8 to 10 WAR. He's got 2.0. He's only played a sixth of a season, 27 games, 1/6. So if you were to extrapolate those numbers out, which obviously you can't really do, but if you were to, he would have a 12 WAR this season, which would by far be the highest since Barry Bonds, I believe.
See, I think it should be Gene Segura because I think his average is .325. He has 25 stolen bases, 11 home runs. That's decent for a middle infielder.
Right.
And 106 hits. I think he's done it all season long. I think you can't really give it to someone that's only done it for that short amount of time because, I mean, this is like a less extreme example, but look at Dyer. Look at what he's done over 27-game span. Should you give him the MVP?
No, but he's also just have a hitting streak. Puig's numbers, He's hitting a ton. He's got a bunch of home runs, a pretty good amount of RBIs. He's got some stolen bases. I mean, he's the more complete package than Kadir's been over the past 27 games, which is kind of funny. I didn't even realize Kadir had 27-game hitting streak. Puig's played in 27 games.
Yeah, I just actually figured that out in my head as well.
Which is kind of interesting. But I don't know. I mean, I think, yeah, you have a case for Segura because he's done it the whole, 80 games already or whatever he's played half a season. But, I mean, I guess we'll see as the season goes on if Puig continues to hit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I agree with what you're saying. If Puig does it the rest of the year, then I'll go with Puig. But for the midseason picks, I'm saying Gene Segura.
Think about this. Puig's average could drop 100 points. He'd still be hitting 343.
He would.
He could slump for 3 weeks and hit over 350.
He is incredible. I read something where if he gets a hit up the middle, he automatically goes 2 every time.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still that way, but definitely in his first couple of games, there were some videos online of him. Yeah, base it up the middle. He just keeps running. He got thrown out one of the videos I saw. Another one he made it because generally the center fielder is not running as fast
they're
as they can.
lazily going to get the ball.
Right. All right. So real quick, because we went a little long here on this segment. Do you think pitchers should be allowed to win MVP, or do you think it should be strictly Cy Young for pitchers?
Well, I think you pitchers should be able to. Like when Verlander won it, I think that he was the most valuable player for his team, and I think that it should be whatever defines the award. So if he's the most valuable guy, it doesn't matter what position he plays. If he's the most valuable player for a team in the league, then he should be MVP.
See, my feeling is I understand the word is most valuable player, not most valuable hitter or position player. So I understand that by definition, pitchers should be allowed to win it. I just don't like it because I feel Cy Young and MVP are on the same, in my opinion, and I think in most baseball fans' opinion, they're on the same level. I don't think people say, oh, you just won the Cy Young. Like, I think it's MVP, Cy Young, right next to each other as equal. I think people say the pitcher gets the Cy Young, the hitter gets the MVP.
See, what they should do is they should have a best hitter award, and then Cy Young, and then MVP.
Yeah, I mean, that would obviously solve the problem like they do in football because they do MVP, offensive player, defensive player, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would solve that problem. But I think because baseball fans and the baseball committee is so entrenched in how it has always been and the values of the past that I don't think they're going to add an award for best hitter of the year and stuff like that.
I agree. I think they're very set in their ways.
Which is why I think the easiest thing would just be to say, all right, hitters will get the MVP because that's how it has been 99% of the time. And I just think that's how it should stay. But we'll see if anyone ever wins it again like Verlander did a couple years ago. And it's happened before him too. All right, here's my next question about the MVP. Do you think it should come from a playoff team only, the player? Or do you think that it could be a last-place team? Like I believe Andre Dawson won it for the Cubs and they finished last. What do you think?
I think that it should come from a team that's either like average or above average, only because if he's valuable to your team, why isn't your team producing? Like, He must not be that valuable or you're not doing anything.
And that's generally the argument against giving MVPs to a player who's not on either a playoff team or a playoff contending team. And my feeling is if you're a bad team, you cannot have an MVP because, like you just said, how can he be valuable to your team if your team has no value, essentially, because you don't make the playoffs. So take him off your team, you still don't make the playoffs.
When
so
you have a guy like Cabrera for the Detroit who makes that team how prestigious that team is.
That Detroit team is really good. You take them off the team, they'll still be pretty good.
But they won't be.
But Cleveland's probably in first.
He won't be elite if you take him off.
Right.
McCutchen for the Pirates. You take him off, they're just the Pirates like normal. Like maybe not like normal. They're better, but they're not the best team in baseball without McCutchen.
Right. And I don't think it has to be playoffs or bust. I think you can be an MVP if your team is
pretty decent.
I say more than decent. I think you have to be contending up until the last couple of weeks. Like I think if you win 94 games and you lose out in your division by 2 games, I think you still can get the MVP because your team wouldn't even be close to the playoffs without you.
So you say upper half of Major League Baseball?
I say you were either one of the now 10 teams that makes it, or you're one of like the first 4 that don't make it. I think
Okay.
you got to be in that upper 25% of the teams in the league.
I agree.
Or upper third, I guess, of the teams.
Completely agree.
But I don't think you could be a 500 team. I don't think you could be a bad team. I think you got to be a playoff team or right on the cusp. All right, so we are going to take a break right now. You are listening to the Sports Jam on AM 1230. I am intern Joe Rourke.
And I am the intern's intern, Sam Cepeda.
Intern Sam Cepeda, our stat boy, Mike Zajac, who is a usual on the show, my co-host. He's not here right now. He's getting his teeth fixed.
Ooh.
So he will be back. He'll be back on Friday because there's no show tomorrow.
No, there's not.
He'll be back.
Happy 4th.
He'll be back tomorrow. Friday with Sam. I will not be here. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Sports Jam. That was Macklemore with The Town. I know everyone knows Macklemore for his Thrift Shop song and for Can't Hold Us, but his old stuff is real good too.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So,
Didn't you see him in a concert at Ball State?
No, at IU actually.
Oh, was it IU?
Yeah,
Okay.
I went to IU and I watched him perform, and it was awesome. All right, once again, listen to the Sports Jam. I'm Joe Rourke.
Sam Cepeda.
Sam Cepeda. Mike Zajac will be back on Friday with Sam to do the show. I will be back on Monday to do the show. We are interns here at WJOB. I'm from Crown Point.
I'm from Griffith.
I went to Lake Central High School.
I go to Bishop Knoll.
Still go to Bishop. 1 year left, right?
I'm going to be a junior, so I have 2 years.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Really? Sophomore?
Yep.
How'd they let you on the radio?
I have no idea.
All right, Sam. What headlines you got for us today?
Well, headlines for today. Phillies closer Jonathan Papelbon calls the idea of the Dodgers' Yasiel Puig as an all-star a joke. What do you think about that?
I think Papelbon needs to just shut his mouth because he's always talking. I remember I have
It's those
always
It's those former Red Sox players.
I have always hated Jonathan Papelbon. I think he's really cocky and annoying, and he just needs to shut up.
Like most Red Sox players, they're all cocky and
There you
annoying.
go. Puig, what does he care? Does he just want attention? Is that why he's not happy that Puig's getting all the attention and he's not?
Papelbon, I haven't heard his name in
Yeah.
a couple of years.
He
So.
went to Philly and disappeared.
Yeah,
He needs to just shut up and do his job.
exactly. And what does he have? What grounds does he have? Puig has been killing the ball.
Yeah, right?
He's been doing great. He should be it's an all-star team.
Man, I hope when they play the Dodgers next, Puig just lines one right at him.
Yeah, he will.
All right.
Puig will hit it right at him.
Hopefully.
Next headline, shooting guard Manu Ginobili is nearing a new deal with the Spurs, which he put on Twitter. What do you think about these athletes putting on Twitter all their updates?
It seems like it's happening a lot. And, I don't really care. I guess it's up to their agents what they really feel about it. If their agents don't mind, then...
Except for the Alex Rodriguez, Brian Cashman.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. Brian Cashman flipping out because all A-Rod said was, I got the best news. I'm healthy. I'm clear to play.
The Yankees don't want him to be healthy. They don't want him to play.
told him to shut the F up.
That's not very nice.
No, that's insane. All right, anyway.
The Twins, yesterday, in a game against the Yankees, gave Mariano Rivera. Mario Rivera.
It's a me.
Yesterday, a broken bat rocking chair in yesterday's game.
Here we go.
What do you think about the appreciation other teams have for probably, in my opinion, the greatest closer to ever live?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool how they gave him a broken bat rocking chair. Pretty funny looking, although some of the spindles on it were a little jagged looking.
Did you think that I actually figured this out right now in my head why it's broken bats? Because
Right.
his cutter.
His cutter, right.
His
He
cutter's
has one of
sick.
the greatest cutters ever. He broke tons of bats thrown inside to hitters. And, yeah, that's obviously why they did the broken
I just
bat.
thought of that, actually.
Just realized that now?
It's that junior mind.
Yeah, he's doing a little farewell tour around Major League Baseball, so I'm sure you'll see other teams maybe giving little mementos or something to him. Maybe not a full-on rocking chair.
Statues.
No, not statues, but maybe just like little things or just announcing, it's his last game that he'll ever play in the stadium. Chipper Jones had a similar thing last year with the Braves when he went around and all the teams.
Well-liked players.
Yeah, and I can't remember what team it was, but someone gave Chipper Jones something to – I can't remember what it was, but yeah. Some players are starting to do that now, some of the old retired players. Jim told me I wish would have done it. Everyone would have given him something. That's awesome.
Brett Favre in football, if he wouldn't have just retired 6 times.
Oh, gosh.
Cincinnati's Homer Bailey threw a second career no-hitter yesterday against the Giants. The last 2 no-hitters in baseball have been thrown by Homer Bailey.
Yeah, he threw his last one, I think the end of September last year against the Pirates. That's pretty cool. It's kind of surprising that we're all the way in July now, and this is the first no-hitter of the season.
Usually you see no-hitters every day.
Well, not every day.
That's what it seems like.
Last year they had 7, which was the second most they've ever had in a season. And I think by July they had at least 3 or 4. So it's kind of weird that we only got 1 this year.
Yeah, it seems more like a hitter's year, surprisingly.
Congrats to Homer Bailey. Well, it's definitely a rookie's year for sure. With all the NL rookies.
Not AL, though. They're all pretty terrible
right,
in the AL.
Just NL rookies.
Center Dwight Howard hopes to decide where he will sign. He's a famous free agent now. By Friday. He's the biggest baby. I know you don't know a lot about basketball.
Right.
But he's such a baby.
Is he going to do a ESPN 1 hour special?
Probably.
He
probably will. I just don't want him on the Lakers anymore. He's so selfish. He thinks he's the greatest thing.
Well, he thinks he's Superman, right?
He does. He can't just let Shaq be Superman. He's got to fight with him over it.
Well, isn't he the one who did the dunk contest wearing all the Superman stuff?
Yeah, and he just made a basic dunk.
On his chest
He made a basic dunk, but it was just because he was wearing a Superman cape. Everybody like,
right.
Oh, that's Superman. Gotta give him the title. He's the equivalent of Alex Rodriguez to me.
All right.
Weird story of the day. Lansing Lugnuts, minor leaguer, hits a walk-off single, but his team loses the game. Explain about that.
Yeah, the Lansing Lugnuts are a Blue Jays single A affiliate. So what happened was they had a runner on first and third, tie game, bottom of the 9th, and the hitter hits the ball into right field for a single. Now the runner on first takes about 5 or 6 steps, turns around, runs back to first to join the celebration at first base when the hitter reached first. So, and there were 2 outs in the inning, by the way. So when this happens, the center fielder picks up the ball, just throws it into second. They get the force out at second. Since it's the 3rd out of the inning and it was a force out, the run does not score. So it was a tie game. They had to get all the celebration off the field. All the fans had to figure out what was going on. The umpires converged and they said, all right, yeah, it's a force out. Sorry, you don't get
Why you
got
to play? You got to play until the fat lady sings.
Right? So they go into the 10th inning and they lose the game.
That's what they get, actually. Karma.
I mean, gosh, that has to be rough. For
It's
that.
deflating.
How mad is that hitter at the guy in first who decided not to run to second? He just lost his walk-off hit.
Imagine if that was Major League. They would make so much more big deal out of it.
Yeah.
Not top 10 for sure.
He'd be getting benched.
Yeah. And the Phoenix Coyotes will stay in Arizona for at least 5 more years.
Yeah, I think I believe the NHL actually owns them now. They have horrible attendance records. They've been trying to get out of Phoenix for a while because nobody in Arizona really likes hockey. I mean, it's kind of a hard climate.
Are they a pretty poor NHL team?
They've had some success recently, but they're definitely not a team that fans want to see either way.
Yeah.
So they decided that if the stadium didn't even want them back, the arena didn't want to have them
Really?
back, but they decided that on a 4-3 vote that they will let them come back under this clause. If the team loses $50 million over the next 5 years, the arena can back out of the deal, and they no longer have to have them for 5 more years. A lot of people are thinking the Coyotes will eventually move to Seattle, maybe
More of a hockey
maybe
environment.
Quebec, yeah, but definitely maybe Seattle because it's actually Seattle's super close to Vancouver, where there's obviously a lot of hockey fans, so they can maybe get some Vancouver fans who don't like the Canucks to be Seattle fans.
Jeez, getting those fair weathers.
I mean, expansion teams are kind of excited, so
For sure.
Is that all you got for us for headlines?
That is all.
All right. Well, that is going to do it today for the Sports Jam. I am Joe Rourke.
I'm Sam Cepeda.
Sam Cepeda. Mike Zajac will be back on Friday. Make sure you check us out. We'll not have a show tomorrow
No,
because 4th of July.
because 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July to everyone out there.
Yes, happy 4th of July.
But next week we will be back Monday through Friday as usual. So make sure you check us out at 2 o'clock. Always, you can call us 845-1100 as well. And that's it.
Peace
That's
out.
it for the show. See ya.
We're the best.